Hey man, there's something you need to understand about women that most men overlook when they're hurt, confused, or trying to decode silence. A woman's lack of action isn't the same as a lack of emotion. Just because she isn't reaching out, doesn't text you first, doesn't ask how you are, doesn't check on you publicly, does not mean you're gone from her mind. In fact, the woman who stays silent is often the one who thinks about you the most. Her silence is an emptiness, it's noise. She's trying to hide. She's battling thoughts she doesn't want you to know she's having. She's replaying moments, reconsidering decisions, questioning her ego, and feeling emotions she refuses to admit, even to herself. So while you're wondering why she hasn't reached out, she's lying awake at night, wondering why she still cares. A woman doesn't reach out for one main reason: fear. Fear of looking weak, fear of being rejected, fear of being ignored, and most importantly, fear of losing the emotional upper hand she thought she had. She knows that texting you means exposing herself, even slightly. It means admitting she feels your absence. It means showing a crack in the wall she spent months building. And for a woman whose identity is tied to appearing emotionally in control, that's terrifying. So she keeps quiet, not because she's fine, but because silence feels safer than vulnerability. But in that silence, her mind stays busy. She wonders if you miss her. She wonders if you've moved on. She wonders if she made a mistake. And while she refuses to speak, her thoughts run louder than anything she could ever type. The truth is, women process emotions in reverse. When something ends, a man feels the impact instantly, the emptiness, the confusion, the longing. But a woman? She feels it later. She feels it slowly, quietly, then overwhelmingly. At first she distracts herself. She pretends she's fine. She convinces herself she made the right choice. But silence is patient. It waits. And sooner or later, her emotions catch up. She starts missing the small things: your voice, your presence, your energy, your jokes, your stability, your understanding. And when those emotions hit her, they hit her harder than you think. But she still won't reach out because she wants to be the one who's missed, not the one who admits she misses. What's crazy is that your silence has become her mental soundtrack. She's scrolling through her phone, pretending she's not thinking about you, but everything reminds her of you: a song you showed her, a meme you would have laughed at, a place you once talked about going to. Even random moments trigger memories she never expected to feel. She tries to push you out of her mind, but your presence sneaks back in through the cracks of her day. And the more she tries not to think about you, the more she does. Silence makes your memory louder. That's the part she can't control, the part that scares her the most. Women rarely reach out when the feelings are strong. They don't want you to know the effect you still have. They don't want you to sense their internal conflict. They don't want to hand you the emotional power they once guarded. So instead of texting, she holds back. Instead of calling, she scrolls through your profile. Instead of admitting she misses you, she stalks you quietly. She checks when you were last online. She notices what you post. She looks for clues that you still care. She observes you from a distance, because watching feels safer than speaking. And in that distance, you become larger in her mind than you ever were when you were close. Her silence isn't coldness. It's her way of processing feelings she doesn't understand yet. She might tell people she's over it, but internally she's replaying every conversation. The last fight, your last message, the last moment she saw you. That's why her silence lasts so long. She's trying to make sense of emotions she pretended didn't exist. And the more time passes, the more she realizes she wasn't as detached as she thought. Your absence didn't free her, it exposed her. Every day she spends staying silent is another day she's thinking about you more deeply than you realize. She's also waiting to see if you'll reach out first, waiting to see if you'll break the silence, waiting for proof that you still care. She thinks her value is tied to being chased, so she stays silent, hoping you'll come forward again. But here's what she didn't plan for: your silence, your distance, your calm, your growth. And that's what messes her up. She expected you to react, to fold, to pursue. But when you didn't, everything shifted. She felt a crack in her confidence. She started questioning assumptions she made about you. She started feeling uncertain about a dynamic she thought she controlled. That uncertainty is why you stay on her mind even when she refuses to speak. The more she sits with your silence, the more the emotional reality sets in. You're not waiting for her anymore. You're not tied to her emotionally. You're not checking your phone for her name. You're not orbiting around her feelings. This realization doesn't just surprise her, it shakes her, because for the first time, she sees you as a man who can walk away without looking back. and that's the type of man a woman never forgets. It intimidates her, awakens her, and forces her to see you differently. And the moment she sees you differently, she starts thinking about you more intensely than she ever did when you were trying. She keeps replaying the question she'll never ask out loud. Is he really done with me? That question alone is enough to keep you living in her mind, because if the answer is yes, she feels the weight of a mistake, and if the answer is no, she feels the weight of her pride. Either way, you stay in her thoughts, and this internal loop becomes stronger. Every day she stays silent. She's not reaching out because her ego is louder than her emotions, but her emotions are louder than her logic. That's why she thinks about you constantly. She's stuck between wanting you and wanting to appear strong, and that emotional tension keeps your memory alive more than any conversation ever could. And here's the part most men never realize. When a woman goes silent, she's not detached, she's overwhelmed. When she doesn't reach out, she's not disinterested, she's scared. When she doesn't text you, it's not because she's forgotten, it's because she can't stop thinking about you enough to risk being vulnerable. Silence is not her closure, it's her confusion. And you, without knowing it, have become the center of the emotional conflict she's trying to navigate alone. She's not talking to you, but you're still in every corner of her mind. As days turn into weeks, she begins to feel a strange tension building inside her, a mix of curiosity, regret, and uneasiness that she can't shake off. She'll act normal on the outside, laughing with friends, posting stories, keeping up appearances, but internally, she's checking her phone far more than she admits. She's wondering if you viewed her story. She's noticing when you're active. She's thinking about whether you still talk about her to anyone. Your silence is not quiet to her. It's a pressure she feels throughout her day. And every hour that passes without a message from you convinces her more and more that she misread your attachment. Instead of reassuring her, her silence traps her. And you become the emotional center she pretends she doesn't have. She doesn't reach out because she's trying to protect her ego. She's trying to save face. She's trying to preserve the illusion that she doesn't care. But every time she chooses silence over vulnerability, she pays for it emotionally. She feels a small ache that she hides behind a smile. She feels a moment of discomfort she pushes down with distraction. She feels a tug of memory she tries to ignore. And these little emotional moments add up. They stack, they grow, and eventually they create a heavy feeling in her chest. The kind that makes her realize she's not as indifferent as she pretended to be. She's carrying more emotion than she wants to admit, and you're the reason. There's also something she won't admit to anyone. She's jealous. Not jealous in a dramatic, visible way, but in a quiet, suffocating way. She wonders who you're giving attention to now. She wonders if you're texting someone. She wonders if another woman is getting the version of you she pushed away. This jealousy eats at her because she knows she lost the emotional privilege she once took for granted, and even though she won't reach out, she feels a sting every time she imagines you moving on. She hates that thought. She hates that it affects her. She hates that her silence empowered you instead of weakening you. But she can't admit this, so she holds it inside, thinking about you even more, because denying jealousy only intensifies it. Her friends have no idea she thinks about you this much. She won't talk about it. She won't ask for advice. She won't confess that she's confused. She doesn't want to look like she failed at detachment, so she keeps it all to herself. And keeping it inside only makes her more emotionally tied to you. Silence for her is the prison she built with her own pride. She can't break it. Not yet. So she sits in it, replaying memories, analyzing your last conversations, wondering if she misinterpreted your intentions. Her silence turns you into an emotional puzzle she can't solve, and because it's unsolved, she keeps thinking about you to find answers that don't exist. With time, she begins to feel a shift in how she views you. Before, she felt comfortably in control. She believed she could predict you. She assumed she understood your heart and your loyalty. But now that you've gone quiet, she sees a version of you she didn't expect. A man who can detach, a man who can walk away, a man who can rebuild himself without her. This version of you intimidates her far more than the version who used to chase. She never imagined you could disconnect this deeply or stand this strongly on your own. And that realization makes you larger in her mind, not smaller. She thinks about you more now, because she's finally seeing the strength she once overlooked. She also starts thinking about the way she treated you. Not in a self-hating way, but in a reflective way. The kind of introspection women experience when the consequences of their behavior finally settle in. She remembers the times you reached out and she didn't respond well, the times you showed care and she acted dismissive, the moments where you were trying to build something and she wasn't fully present. These memories hit her unexpectedly, in the shower, while driving, late at night. And every time one resurfaces, she feels a small pang of regret that she immediately tries to push away. But the more she tries not to feel it, the stronger it grows. Silence has a way of making people confront their own behavior, and in confronting hers, she thinks about you even more. She's not reaching out because admitting those mistakes feels like losing power. She doesn't want to send a message that makes her look wrong. She doesn't want to appear emotional. She doesn't want to expose the regret she feels. But that decision, choosing silence over honesty, is exactly why she keeps thinking about you. Every text she doesn't send becomes a heavier emotional burden. Every moment she stops herself from reaching out becomes a reminder of the feelings she's suppressing. And these suppressed emotions turn you into a constant presence in her mind. Her silence is tying her to you far more tightly than any message ever could. She also feels exposed in a way she didn't expect, because when a woman cares but doesn't speak, she becomes emotionally vulnerable to her own thoughts. She notices tiny changes in your behavior that most people wouldn't catch. She sees when you stop watching her stories. She notices when you seem happier online. She feels a shift when you start posting more confidently. Each small change in you creates a small shift in her, a mix of insecurity and longing she refuses to admit. She feels like she's watching a man evolve without her, and that emotional reality keeps you living inside her mind long after the last conversation you had. The longer the silence lasts, the more she starts imagining scenarios. She imagines bumping into you somewhere unexpectedly. She imagines the first word she'd say if you reached out. She imagines the day you might finally move on completely. These scenarios aren't fantasies, they're emotional rehearsals. Her brain is preparing for outcomes she's afraid of, and each time she imagines you, it reinforces your presence in her mind. Silence didn't erase you for her, it multiplied you. You're not just a memory anymore. You're a reference point, a question, a possibility, a regret, a what if, and an emotional shadow she carries into every thought. And here's the ironic part. The more she tries to seem strong by staying silent, the more she emotionally ties herself to you. Because silence doesn't reflect disinterest. Silence reflects conflict. If she truly didn't care, she wouldn't think, she wouldn't check, she wouldn't wonder, she wouldn't compare, she wouldn't replay anything. Indifference is quiet. Her silence isn't quiet at all. It's loud, emotional, and exhausting. And the reason you're still all she thinks about is simple. She's fighting feelings she hoped she'd never have, and the battle is happening entirely in her mind. As more time passes, she starts feeling the emotional consequences of her own pride. It's subtle at first, just a quiet heaviness she carries around. But the longer she stays silent, the more she realizes she isn't protecting her dignity, she's suffocating herself. She thought silence would make you wonder about her. Instead, it made her wonder about you. Every day without reaching out becomes a reminder that she could have cleared the air, but chose to hold her feelings hostage. And now, that self-created distance feels like a punishment, not because of what you're doing, but because of what she's refusing to do. She keeps thinking about you, because she knows a single message could break the tension, but sending it would force her to admit she still cares, and she's terrified of that admission. But the emotional weight keeps growing. She starts sensing something she never expected, the quiet fear that someone else might be getting your attention now. Not necessarily because she knows it, but because she doesn't know. Silence creates mystery, and mystery creates insecurity. She wonders if you've started talking to someone new. She wonders if another woman is making you laugh. She wonders if someone else appreciates the stability she took for granted. And these thoughts torment her because she has no way to confirm or deny them. That uncertainty makes her think about you constantly, replaying every possibility in her mind. She isn't reaching out, but her imagination is reaching out on her behalf every hour of every day. She also starts feeling something she never expected to feel, the loss of emotional safety. You may not realize it, but you were the place she went emotionally. She didn't need to be perfect with you. She didn't need to impress you. She didn't need to hide her flaws. Even if she didn't open up much, she knew she could have, and that comfort mattered more than she realized. Now that you're gone, she feels exposed in her own life. Every new interaction feels hollow. Every man who shows interest feels temporary. Every conversation lacks the emotional grounding she once dismissed as normal. And it hits her, you weren't normal, you were rare. And rare things don't disappear from a woman's mind, even when she pretends she's forgotten. As she sits with these emotions, she starts reflecting on the times you were there for her when she wasn't there for you. She remembers your patience when she was moody. She remembers your effort when she was distant. She remembers your consistency when she was uncertain. These memories return, not as nostalgia, but as accountability. She begins to see the gaps in her own behavior, the times she pushed you away instead of pulling closer. And with every memory, a quiet regret grows. Regret for not appreciating your softness, regret for not respecting your effort, regret for not valuing someone who genuinely cared. This regret keeps you alive in her mind, even though she still refuses to reach out. Her silence now becomes emotional self-defense. She wants to talk to you, she really does, but she's afraid of three things: you won't reply, or you'll reply coldly, or you've already let go. Any of these outcomes would hurt her ego more than silence already does, so she doesn't message. She hopes you'll break first. But every day you don't, she feels another crack inside her confidence. She stays silent to protect her pride, but she's losing her peace in the process. This emotional imbalance, the desire to reach out versus the fear of rejection, becomes the very reason she thinks about you constantly. Her daily routine becomes filled with moments that remind her of you. She sees a couple and thinks of your presence. She hears a joke and remembers how you used to respond. She scrolls through her phone and sees your name in her old chats. She goes to sleep thinking she's fine, only to wake up with a tightness in her chest she can't explain. You're not reaching out, but your absence is shaping her emotional landscape. That's the part she never expected, that silence could have such a loud presence, and the more she tries to push these feelings aside, the more they find their way back, stronger each time. She also begins comparing the current version of herself to the version she was when she had you. With you, she felt secure, valued, and grounded. Now she feels uncertain, restless, and emotionally scattered. She starts realizing that your presence didn't just influence the relationship, it influenced her. Your calmness made her feel stable. Your consistency made her feel special. Your attention made her feel wanted. And now, without all that, the emotional contrast becomes impossible to ignore. She's not reaching out, but she's constantly comparing her past peace to her current chaos, and every comparison has your name attached to it. Eventually, she starts feeling a quiet panic, the kind that comes without tears or drama, but sits heavy in the chest. She begins to see the silence, not as a temporary phase, but as a possible ending, a real ending. The kind where you move on and she becomes a lesson instead of a chapter. This fear is powerful. It forces her to revisit everything she did that led to this moment. It forces her to see that you weren't the one who created distance, she was. And now that awareness becomes the reason she thinks about you non-stop. She's realizing too late what she had, and that realization is the emotional echo she can't quiet. At this point, her silent thoughts become routine. You're in her mind when she wakes up. You're in her mind when she's at work. You're in her mind before she sleeps. She wonders what you're doing. She wonders if you've changed. She wonders if you still care. And even though she hides all of this under a calm exterior, her internal world is filled with questions she can't escape. Silence isn't her strength anymore, it's her weakness. Because the man she thought she could forget has become the man she can't stop thinking about. She's not reaching out because she wants to look strong, but the truth is, her silence is the very thing making her emotionally unravel. And here's the part she would never admit out loud. She's waiting for you to prove she still matters. She's waiting for a message. She's waiting for a message. She's waiting for reassurance that she didn't mess everything up. She wants to reach out, but she wants to feel safe first. And because she doesn't feel safe, she stays quiet. But that quiet doesn't mean she's moved on. It means she's scared of confronting her feelings. It means she's afraid of losing you completely. It means she's stuck in emotional limbo. She's not reaching out, but you're still everywhere in her mind, because silence didn't heal her, it exposed her. As more time passes, she starts realizing something she never wanted to admit. She misread your emotional strength. She thought you were the kind of man who would always come back, always reach out, always try to fix things. But your silence is showing her a version of you she didn't account for. A man who can walk away, a man who can detach, a man who can rebuild himself without needing closure or reassurance. This realization shakes her because it forces her to confront the truth that you weren't dependent on her. You were invested in her. An investment can end. Dependence can't. She's beginning to understand that your silence isn't weakness, it's self-respect. And that makes you far more powerful in her mind than you ever were when you chased. There's a moment, usually late at night, when her pride cracks just a little. She scrolls through old conversations, reading your messages carefully, noticing the kindness in your words, the effort you used to give, the consistency she never thought twice about. She sees the tone you texted her with, the way you listened, the attention you gave, and she feels a heaviness that sits behind her ribs because she realizes you weren't perfect, but you were present. You weren't flawless, but you were sincere. And now that presence is gone, replaced by an emptiness she can't explain to anyone. She doesn't reach out, but that moment becomes a turning point where she stops pretending you meant nothing. As her emotional walls begin to weaken, she starts comparing every new interaction she has to the dynamic she once had with you. A guy might give her attention, but it feels forced. Another might try to flirt, but it feels shallow. Someone else might text her, but she doesn't feel the same connection. And each comparison chips away at her ego, because she's starting to see that what she had with you wasn't easily replaceable. Not by charm, not by looks, not by compliments. You offered a depth she didn't know how to appreciate at the time. And now, every surface-level interaction feels like a downgrade. She's not messaging you, but the outside world is disappointing her in ways that make you stand out even more. Eventually, she starts doing the thing she once accused you of doing: overthinking. She replays your last conversation and analyzes every detail. She tries to understand whether you were emotionally done or just tired. She wonders if she said something wrong. She wonders if she pushed too hard. She wonders if she didn't try enough. This internal analysis becomes a cycle she can't break, because the truth is, your silence forced her to sit with the consequences of her actions, something most women avoid by jumping to the next distraction. But this time, she can't distract herself. Not from you, not from how she treated you, not from the possibility that she might have lost someone irreplaceable. As the emotional pressure builds, she begins noticing the gap between who she wanted to be and who she actually was with you. She always told herself she was understanding, but when you needed understanding, she dismissed you. She told herself she was loyal, but she didn't show consistency. She believed she was emotionally mature, but she acted on impulse. Now that you're silent, these truths hit her harder. She starts realizing that the version of her she wanted to be never showed up in your relationship, and that realization becomes a quiet ache, the kind she carries into every thought about you. She thinks about reaching out just to ease the discomfort, but her pride keeps her frozen. At some point, she reaches a subtle emotional crossroads. She can either keep pretending she's fine, or admit to herself that your absence has meaning. And most women choose the first option for as long as they can. But the longer she tries to maintain the facade, the more emotionally unstable she becomes. She starts noticing how easily irritated she is, how unfocused she feels, how disconnected she seems from the people around her. She might even begin withdrawing emotionally without understanding why. It's because part of her energy is still tied to you, to the silence she created, and to the man she expected to still be there. Your silence has turned into a mirror she can't avoid. Then comes the moment she starts rationalizing, reaching out. She tells herself she just wants to know how you are. She convinces herself it would be harmless to check on you. She frames it as a friendly message, something casual, nothing emotional. But deep down, she knows that's not the reason. The real reason is she misses the version of herself she was when you were around, the version who felt chosen, valued, and desired. She misses the emotional safety she didn't appreciate. She misses the presence she took for granted. But even though she wants to message you, her ego still stands guard. She wants to break the silence, but she wants to do it without looking vulnerable. She also starts feeling a strange kind of sadness, not the dramatic kind, but the quiet, lingering kind that stays with her throughout the day. It shows up when she listens to certain songs. It shows up when she scrolls through old photos. It shows up when she sees couples outside. It shows up when she's alone with her thoughts. She tries to dismiss it as loneliness or nostalgia, but she knows it's more than that. It's the emotional cost of losing someone she didn't expect to miss this deeply. And the reason she thinks about you so much is because you represent a part of her heart she didn't realize she was capable of losing. Even though she doesn't reach out, she starts quietly hoping you will. She checks her messages more often than usual. She opens your chat, reads old texts, and then closes it again. She watches your stories privately. She listens to your voice notes again. She keeps track of small changes in your behavior. She may even ask mutual friends about you indirectly. She's not reaching out, but she's reaching towards you emotionally, hoping for a sign that you haven't completely moved on. This is when she becomes emotionally stuck, wanting connection but refusing to be the one who initiates it. And here's the truth, she would never say out loud. She thinks about reaching out almost every day, but she's terrified the silence changed you. She's scared you won't respond with the warmth she expects. She's scared you'll act detached. She's scared you'll appear fine without her. That fear alone keeps her frozen. So she stays silent, replaying your memories, analyzing your absence, imagining what could have been different. She's not reaching out, not because she doesn't care, but because she cares in a way that feels dangerous to her ego. And until she feels safe enough to break the silence, she carries you everywhere in her mind, quietly drowning in the emotions she refuses to express. As the silence stretches further, she finds herself slipping into moments she can't control. Moments where she catches herself smiling at a memory or feeling a sudden heaviness, thinking about how different things are now. These emotional flashes happen at the most unexpected times, in the middle of a conversation, while cooking, while scrolling her phone. Each moment reveals a truth she tries to hide from herself. She isn't over you, not even close. She pretends she moved on. She tells everyone she's fine. But internally, she carries this constant emotional vibration, like a quiet storm building behind her ribs, reminding her that the chapter she thought she closed is still very much open. At this point, the silence between you two becomes a presence in her life, something she feels every day like a shadow that follows her around. She notices the new discipline in your energy. She senses the difference in how you carry yourself online. She sees the glow-up happening without her. She observes the way you're more focused, more centered, more detached, and even though she won't admit it, it stings. Not because she's angry at you, but because she realizes she lost access to a version of you that she can't recreate with anyone else. Your silence doesn't just show distance, it shows growth, and that growth forces her to confront the possibility that she's no longer part of your future. This is where something deep begins to shift inside her. She stops thinking about what you did and starts thinking about what she didn't do. She begins feeling a quiet guilt, not dramatic, not overwhelming, but the kind that grows slowly, quietly, consistently. She recognizes she wasn't patient when she should have been. She knows she wasn't supportive when you were trying. She sees the moments where she pushed you away instead of letting you in. And these realizations don't just stay in her head, they settle into her heart. She thinks about reaching out, not because she wants attention, but because she wants to fix something she finally sees with clarity. The silence changes her. It softens her arrogance. It humbles her ego. It forces her to see your value in a way she never did when she had easy access to you. She starts understanding the difference between a man who's emotionally available and a man who's emotionally disciplined. You were the first type when she knew you, but now you're the second, and that difference hits her deeply. She realizes she never had full control. She just had your effort. Now that your effort is gone, she has no leverage, and for the first time, she feels what you felt for so long: uncertainty, vulnerability, longing. It's a taste of her own medicine, and she's shocked by how much it burns. She begins imagining what would happen if she actually reached out. Not the fantasy version, not the confident I don't care version, the real version. She imagines typing a message, staring at it, deleting it, rewriting it, staring again. She imagines how her heart would pound, waiting for your reply. She imagines you replying calmly, casually, like you're no longer affected. That possibility scares her more than silence, because silence is something she can pretend to control. But your reaction? That's unpredictable, and the fear that you might no longer be the man who once put effort into her, that fear keeps her frozen. The irony is that the message she refuses to send becomes the message she thinks about every single day. The emotional conflict intensifies when she notices that her usual patterns aren't working anymore. Posting something subtle doesn't get your attention. Updating her appearance doesn't bring you back. Flirting with someone new doesn't erase the emptiness she feels. She starts realizing why your absence bothers her so much. It's because her influence over you is gone. You're no longer reacting. You're no longer responding. You're no longer orbiting her emotional world. You've built your own. And that shift creates a feeling she can't ignore. The sinking understanding that she underestimated you, misjudged your strength, and overestimated her power. Now she finds herself in a paradox. She wants you back emotionally, but she doesn't know how to approach you without exposing her vulnerability. She wants a response, but she doesn't want to be the one to initiate. She wants reassurance, but she doesn't want to show fear. This internal tug-of-war keeps her stuck. She begins to wish you'd just break the silence for her, not because she doesn't care, but because she feels emotionally naked without her pride protecting her. She wants connection, but she wants it without losing face. And that's the emotional cage she built with her own hands. Eventually, she reaches the emotional realization she's been avoiding. She didn't lose you because you weren't enough. She lost you because she didn't appreciate what she had, and your silence brought that truth to the surface. She can no longer blame circumstances, timing, or misunderstandings. She sees the role she played, the moments she dismissed you, the times she let ego win. This truth doesn't just make her think of you, it makes her miss the man who gave her a safe place she didn't know how to value, and that longing isn't temporary, it's the beginning of her emotional regret. At this stage, her thoughts about you become charged with emotion, not just sadness or nostalgia, but a deep yearning to undo the damage. She starts wishing she handled things differently. She wishes she gave more, she wishes she listened, she wishes she didn't push when she should have held close. These are the moments where she finally understands the price of losing someone who genuinely cared. You're not reaching out, but she's emotionally spiraling because she sees clearly now. She didn't lose a guy, she lost a rare man, a stable man, a grounded man, a man who didn't play games, and losing that kind of man hits different. And here's the truth, she'll carry with her, whether she reaches out or not. Your silence taught her more than your words ever did. It showed her who she was. It showed her what she took for granted. It showed her what she thought she could replace, but never will. She thinks about you not because she wants to boost her ego, but because your absence exposed the truth she refused to see. And no matter how many days, weeks, or months pass, she'll always remember the moment she realized the silence wasn't empty. It was a reflection of the space she created between you. And when that realization sinks in, she understands something she'll never forget. She didn't just lose you, she lost a version of herself that existed only because she had you.